Hello YouTube, this is Lost Child 14,000. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that had gone by quite a while ago. Before millions of people start hounding me about how far behind I am, let me just say I am neither under a rock nor am I completely stupid. From here on in, just prepare yourself for one complete nerd-off over Spider-Man of all things. Spider-Man! The focus of this little rant is going to be the Spider-Man movies, the ones with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and so on. So let's recap. Movie 1. Peter's just a nerd with trouble fitting in. He just happens to be living next to the hottest girl in school, and his best friend, Harry, happens to be the richest kid in all of NYC. Harry's dad is a major scientist and businessman, Norman Osborn. One day on a trip to the science lab, Peter just so happens to be the only person to be bitten by this genetically altered super spider. Then he crashes due to spider venom and wakes up with super spider powers. On the other side of town, Norman's business is in trouble, and he needs test subjects so that he can review the effects of a super serum on humans. But he decides to just test it on himself, and he does get stronger, faster, and completely insane. Peter learns to swing around town and gets a bit of a big head. He tries to get money from professional wrestling, but when the fight promoter cheats him out of his well-earned dough, he lets the man get robbed. That same night, his uncle is killed by a mysterious man. Spidey goes after the killer, but the murderer turns out to be the same robber he let mug the fight promoter. This man got away and killed Peter's uncle because Peter did nothing out of petty, selfish revenge. So, that's why he never goes after Jonah. The killer is accidentally tripped through a window and Spidey goes on patrol in the big leagues. Meanwhile, Norman has been gliding around as the Goblin, his own schizophrenic second personality induced by the super serum, killing the Oscorp bigwigs that had been trying to take over his company. Sinking lower and lower into madness, the Goblin, Norman's other half, starts to challenge Spider-Man as part rival, part recruit so they can raise some real hell in the NYC. Spidey, being the hero, says no and keeps rescuing people. The Goblin, now so pissed off he can't see straight, decides to go after a bunch of kids and Peter's sweetheart MJ. Peter miraculously saves the kids and the girl before the Goblin pulls him into one last fight. In the fight, Goblin springs a trap and, with his glider, kills himself. Now, Peter has a depressed friend and a girl looking for safety and intimacy in a neighbor who has saved her more times than she really knows. Or maybe she does know. But some time passes between that last movie and number 2. In this one, Peter's been struggling for money, MJ's become an actress, and Harry has been moving up in the business world of science, and he commissions a fusion reactor to be built by Otto Octavius. The machine goes haywire, kills the Doc's wife, and welds 4 mechanical arms to his spine. The Doc, now controlled by an AI system meant for his mechanical arms, starts to make another reactor. He goes to Harry for more tritium for the machine, and Harry makes a deal. Bring back Spidey alive, and I'll give it to you for free. After going through some deep emotional issues and figuring out the path to a more balanced life of not being Spider-Man, Peter is ambushed by the Doc, who is out for Spider-Man. He takes MJ as part hostage, part collateral, and Spidey comes to the challenge. Ock trades Spider-Man for tritium and runs off. Spidey is revealed to be Parker, and in shock, Harry lets him go. Peter arrives at the scene of the second son just in time to negotiate with Ock and let the bad guy commit suicide with his greatest creation. MJ finds out the truth and breaks up with an astronaut just so she can be with Peter. But we all know a shitstorm is coming because the ghost of Harry's deranged father shows up to demand vengeance from his drunken, heartbroken, depressed son. And from this spectacular, amazing, penultimate setup, we now see the biggest dump ever called Spider-Man 3. For the first time in the whole series, we see that Peter is actually enjoying being Spider-Man. He's the hero everyone loves, he's balancing his personal and business life, he hasn't run into any big baddies in a while, and all is well. Sorta. One night, after a date, this strange thing follows Peter home, but it doesn't really do anything there. Peter has taken one of the superhuman serums, just like his father, but seems to have retained his mental capacity, besides being driven by revenge, or roid rage or something. MJ also has fallen on tough times in her acting career, and gets pretty pissy when her boyfriend can't stop fangirling all over himself in place of giving her some real damn comfort. That, and this kiss couldn't have helped either. And on top of it all, Flint Marko escapes from prison and is revealed to be the real guy who killed Uncle Ben in the first movie. Marko is then mutated into a living sand pile. Peter, of course, tries to cling to this good reality he's found by proposing to Mary Jane, but she just blows him off and Harry attacks Peter. Not Spider-Man, Peter. who is starting to fall on hard times with his job again, thanks to an unwanted douchebag named Eddie Brock. After finding out about Marco, Peter gets pretty angry, and then dresses up as Spidey about to go out, but doesn't know what to do with himself in anger. So he falls asleep in a bit of a rage and exhaustion. In his sleep, the ooze crawls onto him and feeds off his anger to grow stronger. Peter wakes up in the middle of the city in a black costume and seems to enjoy the awesome power of the black tarball. But instead of going through the strange addiction to becoming more aggressive, we see Peter just becoming more of an emo dickwagon. Do you see where you went wrong yet? Jeez. Look, that fight with Marco, where he starts to get darker and darker in his rage, that's the kind of symbiote we all know and love. All those parts in the cartoons where he subtly gets more and more angry and malicious toward the world and seems to love the addictive charge of the suit, that's the kind of symbiote we all know and love. The minute you made Parker look into a broken mirror and give himself emo bangs, that was where you should have, killed yourself. I'm just going to gloss over these next bits. Harry wakes up and still has the goblin serum effect, so he's more agile than usual. Peter beats up Sandman, emo bangs himself, and then takes the suit off. MJ and Peter grow further apart. Harry gets his memory back and gets MJ to break it off with Peter. Peter gets mad at Harry and then throws a grenade in his face. He then starts to wear the symbiote permanently and acts like a total fag. No, not a gay guy, just fag. Finally, growing an emo conscience, Peter hangs out in dark church for a while before using sonic waves from the church bell to take the suit off. And it gets on to Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock and the Sandman team up and try to kill Peter using the same old plan. Use MJ to get Spidey into position. Brilliant. Harry, after finally figure out from Bernard, his butler, that his dad was a psychotic thug with access to madness muscle serum, stops the whole roid monkey act and pulls his head from neath his cheeks in time to see that Peter has been the good guy the whole time. Minus the Stacy emo bangs phase. They team up, make some glass, and separate Eddie from the symbiote, only to have him dive after a bomb in the middle of the tarball. And Marco apologizes to Peter for accidentally killing Uncle Ben. The movie ends with Peter in an apologetic stance with MJ. MJ probably not knowing how to feel about her addictive, abusive, heroic, almost ex-boyfriend, who punched her in the face not long ago.